Hello, happy lunchtime.
Yay, lunch.
Welcome to Fangirlz Assemble. I know people are interested in seeing our lunch, but I gotta tell you, I didn't prepare any lunch, so.
I still haven't had any yet.
And I will work for the next 2 hours after the show, so never.
Yeah, that sucks. Get in a quick snack at the end.
Yeah, I did eat some pretzels before this, so I'm gonna have pretzels on my teeth. If I smile big, I'm sure they're in there, which is very attractive.
I can't see any. You're good.
Okay, good. Well, before we talk about what we are reading, which is Buffy the Vampire Slayer High School Tell Deluxe Edition, you can buy other books, not this one, at our sponsor in SuckTrades.com for up to 50% off. And if you spend at least $50, you get free shipping in the U.S., which is awesome.
That's right.
And the packaging is incredible.
The best.
Can't recommend enough. The video of the year of the making is finally here. Buffy Boop Comics. James, you were always on time.
Yeah, wow, James.
I love it. What are you doing with your
welcome?
I love that you're here. You're at night. You're in the middle of the day. I can't depend on a lot of things in life, but I can depend on James.
That's right. Thank you, James.
I appreciate you.
We love that.
So let's talk about this. Finally,
let's do it.
For anybody tuning in or people watching later, some of you may know that we read through all of the pre-boom Buffy stuff last year. We made it a point, so at the end of every month, we would dedicate our last Sunday to talking about Buffy. And that's all of the IDW, Dark Horse, but not all of it. I mean, the canon material that came out after the show ended. So both Angel and Buffy.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, we'll put off Boom Buffy for now. But hey, it's spooky month. And you know what's spooky? Vampires and witches.
You know what else is spooky? When you replace Dan Moore with someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that. Hello, Hayden. Hello, Miss So. It's a beautiful morning here currently until it's going to rain forever.
Raining here.
Oh, no, it's coming to me.
Yep.
Yeah, we were going to run I do some events and stuff. I was running a pumpkin carving event today.
That's cute.
And we're going to move that inside. So that's a bummer.
It's a good idea.
Also, I need to teach a bunch of people how to carve a pumpkin. Am I good at carving pumpkins? No. We'll see how that goes.
Good news, they're not either, apparently, if you have to teach them. Right?
They are not from here, so it could be the first time they've ever carved a pumpkin.
Well, then they don't know. They don't know.
So, Buffy. This has been out for a bit. We've kind of talked about it a little bit, especially the beginning. And I will say that the beginning is beautiful. And there was a time when this first came out, when the issues were coming out, where Chris and I were like, oh my God, can you believe it? Mm-hmm. Can you believe how beautiful Buffy is? Because you have Dan Moore on the art in the beginning. It's written by Jordi Belair.
I mean, Buffy's just dead on.
Oh, dead on.
Dead on.
I mean, perfect. And like Willow, and like Willow and Xander, perfect.
Oh,
and as we said before, especially, let me highlight you again.
So good.
Especially while reading through the Dark Horse stuff, IDW, it is very difficult. It requires a very certain skill set to make comics that are based on real people, real actors. Mm-hmm. Buffy has struggled with this in the past. And Angel, less so in the Buffy run. It just depends.
When Rebecca Isaacs did the Buffy stuff, when she was doing it, she killed it. Loved her art with it. So there were certain artists every now and then.
Star Wars tends to do a very good job, but that's because Marvel is in charge. But they tend to do very well of where you still see the likeness, because it's hard. Either you're too hyper realistic, and that throws it off. It's a weird uncanny valley, and you lose the expressions, or you are way off, and you can't tell the difference between people. I will say I think Dan Moore is the best artist for doing it. My cat is rubbing her head against
totally agree.
I mean, just absolutely fantastic because they are unique. Absolutely unique. Absolutely brought into modern times because this is Buffy, but it's rebooted, so they have cell phones. Mm-hmm. And they dress different.
Buffy, but not in the 90s. Yep.
Yeah, their style's different. But still, you see the characters in there, and you see the emotion, and it's done so well. Like, when Cordelia shows up, you're like, oh, that is Cordelia. Mm-hmm. I can tell immediately.
You're not questioning it. No.
No. Anya, Buffy, all of them were like, yep, there it is. You know, like Drusilla. But warning to everyone, when the art does change, it does feel very abrupt. It's not that it's bad art. However, it doesn't lend itself to the storytelling here because you can't get a good grasp on everyone's expressions, which hurts the dialogue ultimately. Yeah, let's...
For example, here's Willow with the new art.
Yeah. And if I didn't know who that was, and if this was art for a different book, I don't think I would complain. Yeah, just because I think the art style's fine. I think I'd love it in like a regular graphic novel or something else. But the problem is we know these characters going in, and once you get farther on, that art style in particular, it makes everyone look kind of mad or crazy. A little out there because the eyes are always like this.
It's the eyes, yeah.
And it takes away from some of the more serious moments that we should have, some of the more personable moments, because everyone looks a little bit wild and out. And then there is a point later on where we do have two blonde characters. We've got Buffy, we've got Anya, and Robin, and I could not tell who was who. So that was a little bit difficult. And there was a point later in the book where something was like making everyone mad. In the village, in Sunnydale, it's not a village, I think. But it was hard to tell if like, okay, are you upset right now and arguing for no reason? Or is this the art style?
Yeah.
And I really struggled with that.
Yeah, everyone absolutely had the same eyes, and that was a very difficult thing. Like, did you just remember Willow? Well, there's another character, you know.
And I still like the story. But I think the art it took away from some of the moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
I felt a little confused and rushed through some things.
When you're questioning the art half the time, like I will say, I forget what issue I dropped off on. I'm in like the early 20s, reading issue by issue. The art changes again, and we can cover that when we get there. But you're still going to be confused. It's a different artist again. You're still going to be confused. You're more so, I want to say, about who's Buffy and who's Anya, which is like a problem, just because they're both blonde.
So this is a reboot taking place in 2020 or 2019, 2020, you know, present
modern times. Yeah.
And it's not so much in a reboot, like it's a retelling at all, which is what's great about it. You have familiar characters, you have a familiar setting. Buffy's new to town. She's introduced to Xander and Willow, but they're a little more established in themselves than before. Cordelia's introduced early on. Spike and Drusilla from the get-go are introduced before Angel is. And they've moved some characters around a little bit. So the professor, the principal that we used to have that was the son of the Slayer is now a high schooler. So that's a little bit different. Kendra's introduced earlier. And Anya's already there. And not showing up as like a revenge demon, but she already owns the magic shop. And she's hanging out there. So she's an extra kind of like force in Sunnydale. But I think it's a good reboot, at least for that part of it. Because there's enough in there that like I think a new reader would like it. But if you're an old reader, you pick up so much like, oh man. Although I don't understand why Anya's not afraid of bunnies. I'm upset about that. But everything else is like, little treat because I get to wait to see how it's going to happen because I don't know how it's going to happen this time around. It's like it's this fun little surprise.
Yeah, it's hard for me not to think about what I've read but beyond this.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to but like when I read just this stuff, I felt the same as you.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like a fun reboot. Everybody was very mad about it, but I like what they did with most of the characters. I wasn't surprised they put Robin in high school because they really played up like their flirtation, I feel like, in season 7.
Yeah.
And I liked Robin fine. I didn't love Robin in the show, to be honest. Like, he was not my favorite. I had a problem with him. He had a problem with Spike. It was the whole thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
I liked his mother's story more than I think his.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely like his backstory more. So he was interested in this, and I like that Willow was like. I liked and didn't like the Willow stuff. You know, it's hard when we have show Willow and she was such a nerdy nerd, and you love that, and that was endearing, right? Versus we don't get that at all. She's more comfortable with herself, which is nice. So.
Oh yeah, very different. We don't start with like beginning Willow like we used to have in the show. She's awkward and weird. She's still like super close to Xander, but she knows her sexuality already, which is cool.
I dare say she's just cool. She's like a cool
super
outsider.
Cool.
Yeah,
like there's nothing about her that's not cool. Mm-hmm. Like her girlfriend has like the shaved sides and like all these piercings and stuff. Like, and she wears like midriffs and like, you know, black clothes and like skirt. She's already like basically Witch Willow.
Yeah,
and we are introduced to Dark Side Willow very quickly and Magic Willow very quickly.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because I think they probably thought that, you know, they don't want to take too much time with Buffy having just regular human friends that try to help, which I both like and don't like. I think it's interesting.
I will say with the pacing with the character development, like you're saying with Willow, we'll have more to say about that later, I feel like. Because, I feel like this is very quickly paced.
It was very quick.
And not necessarily in a bad way until you keep going. And then I feel like, why are we on a train just going off the rails? You know what I mean? I'm just like, why are we not stopping here?
Yeah. And I was worried about that because they moved through a lot of like things that, you know, took a lot of development in the show. So they moved through it very quickly. And early on, we get a very big change. Small spoilers for this. I don't think it really affects a lot, but Drusilla ends up turning Xander, and I mean early on. So we get a little bit of the whole Xander, like how he is in the show. He's like, no one really wants me. I'm not really helping anything. I love Buffy. She doesn't like me. Blah blah blah. And Drusilla uses that against him and turns him. And we don't even get much time with vampire Xander, like evil vampire Xander, because very quickly they're like, hey, we got a thing we can do. Yeah. We get a soul tie. Willow goes and like uses half her soul to start a new soul for Xander. They share a soul, which ends up like bringing out Dark Willow, which I don't know if they'll ever explain how exactly that worked. I don't think it was very clear. In this, I think it'd be confusing for a new reader. Maybe it's not. For me, I'm like, I know how we get to Dark Willow, but how did this get to Dark Willow? Yeah. Are you telling me this personality was just always there, and now that like half of her soul's gone, it's just easier? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand what happened at the end, really, with Xander, but I'm confused.
I want to tell you that your confusion will be alleviated, maybe on some of those things, maybe not. That's a consistent feeling I feel like I've been feeling throughout the series is a lot of, why? What are we doing here? And like, just like the bunny thing with Anya, it's like, why are we changing some of these things?
Anya is scared of bunnies.
And
I was very upset. It's such a little thing. But she's like, oh, you're so cute. And I was like, Anya would never hold a bunny.
Yeah.
And if you're watching at home and you like don't know what we're talking about, I know it sounds dumb, but literally it's a huge thing about her character. In Halloween, she dressed it as a bunny because she's like, oh, I thought we dressed as something scary. Yeah. She literally has a line in the musical about this. It's like a whole song, basically. You know, it feels a little weird.
It's one of those things. It's funny what they changed and what they didn't, and how I feel like I'm reacting to it, because I felt exactly the same about Anya. Yeah. I'm like, this is a thing that you don't need to change. Like, because it was a consistent thing that we loved. Why not pull that back and just have us enjoy it more? Because we only got like hints of it in the series, right?
Well, so it makes her cute.
Yeah.
You're giving us an Anya that like super knows her shit right now, running the magic store, like they don't come outright completely and tell you about what her deal is. We know as like Buffy fans, but like, oh, you're a witchy demon. But they don't really tell us that. And the whole point of Anya is that she's awkward. And she's weird and she doesn't understand stuff.
Yeah, this is more like very confident Anya. And the fact that she also thinks bunnies are cute, on top of everything, means what's her vulnerability here, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's making her relatable to us? It's not. It's just like, oh, that's Anya, and she has a lot of powers, and she's very confident, and she thinks bunnies are cute. On top of everything, I don't know. I did not like that change at all. There's other things I can get behind. I can be okay with Willow and how she is, because like she was cool, right?
Yeah, super cool.
I think I'm still questioning what they did with Xander and why, personally. But it makes for an interesting when you're starting this, like, oh, where are they going to go with this? Like, it is because it is very quick. I feel like that's within the first 5 issues.
Oh, it is, because it's Dan Morris stuff. It's very, very quick. I did like the dialogue between Willow and Xander, because they did need to, you know, harken back to them being 2 people that grew up together and show their closeness in a way that's no longer like a weird romantic thing that we had, right? Mm-hmm. So I did appreciate the dialogue back and forth between them. Like, when he's sick, I'm sick. Mm-hmm. When he doesn't go to school, I don't go to school. It's a very little thing, but I liked the back and forth with, like, it makes sense for them to share a soul, but it's like they already did. And I did like that part.
I agree. Cool. Especially
that
because,
was very sweet.
Like you said, like the weird romantic thing, I could have done without that in the show. You know, like thinking back now, I'm like, oh, we didn't need that. That was not necessary.
I like that she already knows about that part of herself.
Yeah.
I would still start with like a geekier Willow that where magic becomes more confident, because I think I like that about her.
Yeah, especially,
but, I mean, she looks cool. I get it. I mean,
I get it too. The confidence thing, though, I mean, you know, because I think back to like nerdy, you know, overalls wearing Willow, you know, that Cordelia like made fun of for shopping at Sears or whatever. Yeah. And the what was it, the moment with Harmony in the computer lab?
Yeah.
Harmony and Cordelia, I believe. And they're like confused and they don't know how to do something, and she's like, oh, it's I forget what it was, but she had them hit delete or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just erase their whole thing. It was so cool. So like we missed those little moments where we got her confidence to develop, right? And because she's still that nerdy Willow later on, she's just more confident about it.
Yeah, and I think I would have preferred a growth, because I think it gives you more room to go from. I know it's hard as a publisher, as a new publisher, when you're rebooting. You don't want to start too slow because you're worried it's not going to sell. And I don't know what the sales are for this book. I can understand that gets in the way of it. Mm-hmm. It's different than a TV show. It's like they really want to make sure they're going ahead and moving so they can get the sales. But if I could change it in a perfect world and we weren't selling by issues, because I think books like this suffer if you're selling issue by issue. I don't think it makes sense for this type of book and its audience. Yeah. You know, they wouldn't have to worry about it.
I think that's why they made that Xander choice early on too.
Yeah,
because they're like, we gotta hook people in. Yeah, we gotta hook people in. We gotta make them question what we're even doing with this. We have to make drastic personality changes, which I didn't think was entirely necessary at all.
No. I think the reason they made Willow that way too is because like, well, we need someone to bring Buffy in quick, and so if we don't make Willow more outgoing, then Buffy's not going to be in the group. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, we can't have anybody else do that. So that's how it went down. And so that way, Willow is the catalyst to the story. Like, hey, okay, we're all going to go out to the movies. I'm going to invite that guy for you. Original Willow would never do that.
Yeah. Oh, no.
She was like, no. Talk to someone?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no thanks.
She's like, Buffy, you could do it, you know? Like, or, you know, if she was with Buffy, maybe she had the confidence to awkwardly do something like that for her friend. But, yeah.
I think ultimately, after what I've read, I'm starting to wonder why they decided to take a licensed property with established characters and established personalities and change them all so much. I think I was interested in the idea at first. I was like, I have Buffy the show. I don't need more Buffy the show. If that's what you want to do, then, I'll consider, I'll go into it and just talk about it and be okay with it, And I still kind of like that. But at the same time, I think it really was a marketing ploy.
I think they went a little too far with it.
Yeah.
I think in a way that they rushed it so much that I don't know that some of this in here is interesting for new readers or easy to follow. And which is a hard thing to do because when you're rebooting, one of the biggest issues is, okay, how do I balance the old fans and the new fans? But I think you can get lost in that and move it too quickly with the assumption that the people who are reading already understand. And I think it's better to not do that.
Absolutely.
It's just, The Anya changes are kind of detrimental to her character because even though she's mostly character relief in the show, we still get these great moments like in the body. Boom, Anya would never.
That's so true. That is so true. That's a really good point.
Yeah. I will say Xander characterized very well.
Yeah.
Xander was spot on, Xander.
Yeah. Well, it makes you wonder why they made the choices they made, right? Because it's like, again, that's why I'm like, I feel like this was all a marketing ploy to begin with because people heard they were going to do something different and not change everyone around. And people talked about it and we talked about it. And then we were like, well, we have to read this. We were going to read it anyway. But, and I think a lot of people picked it up for that reason. Just to be like, what are they going to do with these characters I love? And it's just odd to me what they chose, who they chose to change, who they chose to not change. And it's like, okay, but you already, again, you have this licensed property that you probably paid a lot of money to get. You're changing these established personalities that we already love. So why do it if you're not going to do it really well? That's what I'm wondering.
Or just take the time with it. Again, going back to the whole issue versus graphic novel release, which I think needs to be, I don't know who I need to talk to or how I can get in the biz, you guys, which I would love to.
Yeah.
I want to have that discussion with people and be like, you aren't listening to your target. If you're, depending on the audience you're targeting, that should dictate whether you're going to go issue or a graphic novel release. Like, straight to video almost. There's definitely a difference. The audience for this book, even though I think the reason people bought the issues, one was to keep it going. Two was for variants.
Here's the thing, and there's the
covers are beautiful
at the end, and they're all gorgeous. And I've definitely bought a lot of these issues for the wonderful, fantastic covers, which are so much better than the art inside most of the time.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like, I mean, these are really, really good variants, and that's part of it. That's what I was going to say. Like, I think they actually made a good decision with the singles because people are going out there and buying. There's usually several variants per issue. And I was doing it. I was like, these look fantastic.
Yeah.
These are great pieces of art, So they're making their money just from people pulling them off the shelves and being like, oh, that looks amazing. And not even thinking, oh, maybe it's different inside.
Well, yeah, and the story hurts for it. And then ultimately, the hype dies down, especially when Dan Mora left, because I think a lot of publishers do this thing where they bring Dan Mora on, right? And then they take him away because they know I'll read anything that Dan Mora does art on because he's one of my favorites. I think Dan Mora is probably one of my top 10. Honestly,
he kills it every time. Yeah.
And why couldn't you at least get somebody that's sort of similar? If you would start with this other artwork from the beginning, maybe it'd be different. You need to give me a different story, but you gave me this. You gave me this. I mean, you took him away, which, I mean, smart marketing move. They probably can't afford Dan Mora. He's doing a lot of other stuff, but still. I want what I want.
Especially, it didn't last that long, right? It didn't even last 10 issues. Like, what are we doing? Yeah.
I will say this collected edition is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Boom,
and it opens very well.
Oh,
it's just a really nice quality hardcover.
And unlike the Boom collected library editions that they did for like the rest of the Dark Horse stuff, after they got the property, this does include all of the covers in the back, which are beautiful. Mm-hmm. I wish that they would just do what DC and Marvel have been doing and release a poster portfolio.
That would be great.
Because then you get to have them all as posters, same size, and then hang them up. I've really been enjoying those who've been doing that, because you and I would buy the hell out of that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, Buffy room. I would take them down, put them back up like in different places, or like do a Halloween. Like, oh, it's Halloween time to put up all the Buffy covers.
Yeah, I just like want to hold this up and show you every single cover, because there's not one that's like bad. Like they're all just fantastic.
They're so good. The sadness of a Buffy fan, right? The things they've been through.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll keep buying them, but it makes me sad, because I know it goes downhill more from this.
Maybe you'll like it more. But
Maybe?
I feel like it's interesting what they're doing. I won't spoil what happens or anything, but
okay.
I feel like there's a lot of, for someone who wanted to change around established characters and make their own story, there's a lot of pandering.
Okay.
And it's
I
not,
do like that.
Oh, well, it's not a great way for me personally. Because I'm like, why are you trying to throw in this, and this from the series? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Our Angel series got canceled. We got the new Angel series.
There's gonna be a mini series. The regular series got canceled for very good reason. Like, I think you remember some art I sent you, and I was
art was bad.
Like, what's?
I'm not looking forward to buying and reading it.
Yeah,
I'm going to.
I don't think I am gonna buy it. Honestly, I'm like, I don't think I can support this. I'm just saying something.
There are some short, like, non-story stuff in here in the back. It's like it's more history of Slayers, side story stuff. That's really good.
Yeah,
all of that was very, very good. The art was beautiful. I really liked it. 10 out of 10. By the way, when Kendra showed up, I didn't realize Buffy was dead. I know, right? The whole time I was like, what are you talking about? She's missing. Like, so she's dead? When did she die? I had no idea. I was like, I know I'm a fast reader, but when did it? I was like, she was at the dance and now she's dead. I don't understand. What did I miss? The weird things they do with Slayers, I still don't understand. Like, there's just like little things where it's just like, you're taking this thing from the show, but you're changing it so it doesn't make sense. Like, there's things like that where it's like, well, why? Well, why not wait until it's like a bigger deal that she died? Because I love Kendra, but like, bring Kendra in once Buffy's more established, and that way you have like a thing. That's the thing. I think they're just going too fast. And, I understand what you're saying about single issues, but I feel like we've seen it done a lot better that have been in singles first. Yeah. There's a lot of Marvel series that you and I both love that absolutely didn't need to do that. Like All New Wolverine. I feel like it was fast paced, but it wasn't like breakneck pace. You know what I mean? They didn't have to do that. So I think it's all a balance that you can do well. That I don't know. Yeah, I want to know who that, like, because I don't blame the people on the book. I always think it's more of an editorial choice. Yeah, it's all typically something like this. It just feels like a lot of people in the room were talking at them and were like, "No, you have to do this." I'm like, what? I want you to fit in 3 seasons in this one thing. Like, okay. That's what it feels like. It's like, this is too many seasons for this little amount of issues. It reminds me of watching Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah. I just feel like there's too many people in the kitchen. Too many cooks in the kitchen for this one. Yeah. But I don't know. I give it like I don't know how to rate this. Yeah. Like a 5? 5 or 6? Because some of it's really good. I still enjoy my journey with. I should say I still enjoy my journey with this. I'm just getting negative now that I'm nitpicky. I'd say when I finished reading before I talked about it, I had a higher score in my head. So I don't want to. Yeah, I get that. And it's hard for me to like take my brain away from what I've already read versus this. This stuff I enjoyed. Yeah. I definitely enjoyed this much more than I end up enjoying the whole thing. By the way, my hardcover's falling apart. I just talked about the build of this. I just opened it. Oh know.
And the seams are totally coming loose. Just from P.S. I haven't even read this copy. Look at that.
That's awful. That's bad.
Okay, so now I hate Boom.
Well, time to close it and never open it again.
Mad about it. Yep. Wow. I haven't even read this copy. What are we doing? That's rough. I've never had that happen with a book ever. Oh my gosh.
I'm worried.
Yeah, the seams are coming apart 100%. It's about to split.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's bad.
That's visibly bad.
Yeah, that's not good. That's right at chapter 10. It's breaking for me.
It's a sign.
Okay.
Well,
it's like you've been trashing me. Now I'm going to trash you.
Don't do that to us. We love Buffy.
Yeah. Well, heads up, if you get the hardcover, it may fall apart on you.
Tuning late on my lunch break only to be greeted by book body horror.
Yeah. It's not good.
Unfortunately, this is all out of stock. You can't get this.
Yeah.
The Story of a Buffy Collector.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll try to glue it, but I don't want to have to do that. I've never done that.
Just close it and never open it again.
I may do that. That may happen.
Yeah, you know, what are you going to do? Well, what else is new?
Well, I look forward to our journey to more of Boom Buffy for sure.
Yeah.
I think Hayden said earlier they released this kind of too soon after season 12 and maybe felt like they had to do something different, which I get, but I'm also like, I feel like we could have gotten tons more side stories from every season. They could have went back to season 1 and been like, here's some more things that happened that you didn't see. And I love that kind of stuff, right? Because it's like, we only got so much within all of these seasons anyway. More absolutely happened that we didn't see, you know?
And honestly, I love that it's rebooted. I like the first 6 issues, the plan. I just think it moved too fast.
Again, I was okay with the concept until it was executed.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, I love the concept.
Like, oh, you could have done this.
Yeah, it's that 2020. Like, okay, now I've looked back, and this is because they had me at the beginning. I was like, oh, I could not believe it. I was telling everybody, and now I'm sad.
Yeah,
I don't need to be sad. Do you guys have any reading recommendations? Looking for something more lighthearted? Me too. Did you read that cat book yet? Because I got into yesterday.
Oh, the depressed cat book?
Yeah.
I'm like halfway in it. I really like it.
I'm going to read it later because this has been a no bones week for me. People understand that reference. I've been stressed and anxious every day.
That sucks.
Honestly, I'd say read some manga.
That's a good idea. I'm like looking around like, what do I have?
Oh, Kristan, did you see that Comey, did I tell you Comey Can't Communicate is on Netflix? It just released the first episode.
I heard that. People got angry about it. That's what I heard.
I saw people get angry about it. I've never read the book. I started the first episode. I was like, this is fantastic.
Okay,
I loved it.
Good.
And I was like, I want to read the book now. I love this. But yeah, I saw people in the manga group that were like,
yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I think it's really cute.
Well, good. That's good. Because, like, that's the whole endearing. I mean, yeah, so Comey Can't Communicate. That's a great lighthearted read. If you're going to do that. It's lovely. It's just lovely. That's all. It's lighthearted. It's lovely. Also, Giant Days, Gabby, 100%. Giant Days, Lumberjanes. Those are my good lighthearted reads that I love.
You have that, right? The Marvel Meow graphic novel?
I have it on the way. Stuck in transit.
I have almost ordered it 5 times.
I'm so excited.
But I need to stop ordering things. I spent a lot of money on a Totoro cardigan yesterday, so.
Oh, cute.
And a new phone case that it's the Great Wave, but there's pugs coming out.
Oh, love that. Oh, yeah,
right?
I see it. That's cute. Very cute.
We'll probably end early since I've been meeting at noon. But we'll be back soon with our schedule for next month. We haven't talked about it yet. Normally we do that at the show while we're chilling.
Yeah, it's true.
But Oh, that's true. Well, Amanda Cat is either happy or will make you cry because it's so cute.
Yeah, it's very hopeful, but there's sad elements, but it's ultimately hopeful. So maybe a little emotionally draining.
Hayden and I did get the cardigan. I was like, should I get this cardigan? Hayden immediately, do it. I was like, how'd you? I just posted it.
Love that.
But yeah, so we'll discuss November soon. And I'll probably take November off over your new reader. I haven't decided yet, so by the last second.
Awesome.
But
love that.
I'll always be there with you.
Thank you so much.
But of course, the first show we'll do will be recent hauls and reads. I have hauled 2 things. And I've read more webcomics. So many webcomics. I need to just take a picture of my subscriptions and send it to you, Kristin.
Yeah, you should.
So that you can read all the same ones and talk to me about it, because
perfect.
I even fast passed this last time. And I never thought I would, but I was like, I have to know. And then you're caught up and you're like, no, it's so sad.
So that gets you like more issues than are on there.
Yeah, so technically, like, even once you're up to date with the free stuff, there are actually 5 more issues out on the app.
Oh.
And so you can fast pass to read them. And I, needed some serotonin, so I did.
Nice. Love that.
And you've never read Lore Olympus, right?
No.
We should do that as a read sometime next couple of months, because the collect edition's coming out soon by the end of the year.
Oh, fun. Okay.
And that one's like a big one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you talk to anybody who's like on Webtoons, they're like, oh, Lore Olympus. And I binged it in a day. No, I know I read quickly, but like I couldn't stop reading it.
Love that.
And I'm at like a year behind, but anyways, I promise I'll be more chipper next time we all talk. I have no energy left in my body.
I totally get it. I feel the same.
Work has broken me down. I look forward to another nighttime show with you, so we can just sit and then talk for way too long, and then still talk for another 45 minutes after the show's over. That's
absolutely.
Really
we'll
bad.
do it. We'll do it.
Thank you. I love all you guys. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Have a good lunch. Check out our sponsor, In Stock Trades, and be excellent to each other.
Enjoy your day.
Goodbye.